Hey, what's up, good people? Welcome to Fired Up KC. I'm your host, Zeke Wanganga. This is another episode of The Dream, where we bring up all people from all over the world who have come to US to accomplish their dream. And on today's episode, I'm going to take you guys all the way back home. I know you guys have been listening to some Afrobeat, Davido, Wizkid, Burna Boy, and today I have my main man. He is an artist. He has Afro Alternative. I don't really know what that means, and he's gonna explain it to everyone here today. So hey, I'm excited to bring him on, Mr. Ajofe in the house. How you doing, sir?
Doing good, sir. Good morning. Thanks so much for
Man,
having me on.
yes, welcome to the show. It's been a while. You know, we've been back and forth, and finally came all the way through. And you are tuned in. You are calling in from Iowa, Des Moines, if I'm correct.
Yes, I'm calling in from Des Moines. Yep.
Fantastic. Now, give us just a little bit of background story about, where you're from, how you end up in the U.S., and kind of give us just a backtrack of, who you are.
Okay. Thank you. So, I am a Nigerian, by identity.
Yes.
That's where I was born and raised, and I've always had interest in art, music specifically, and then some interest in science, computer specifically, and I've been doing both for quite some time now. So I started making music at about 14 years old, where I was just kind of like intrigued by sound combination.
Okay.
That was the interest for me. I was just always curious about how the combination of all these different elements makes a sound that is that enjoyable.
Yes.
My dad is a journalist. He was into the media, so people will always come in with demo tape and things like that they want him to play on the radio.
Gotcha.
So I would say that had a little bit of interest in how I started liking music. But when I went to college, I did music professionally back in Nigeria from year 1 to year 4.
Okay.
It got me some recognition, and did a little bit here and there while doing that. For me, those were what I would call my foundational years, as at the time people thought I was doing music, but what I was doing was kind of experimenting, trying to learn all part of this entire sound I fit in.
Exactly.
And that's where Afro Alternative comes into play. Afro Alternative is me saying this is Afrobeat, but it's not what you're used to. It's the alternative. It's not you want to listen to Fela, you want to listen to Burna Boy, Davido type of thing. This is an alternative. It's a combination of all the different sounds that I've learned or that I've been exposed to in my entire life. Being a Nigerian, we grow up with a lot of exposure to reggae, to dancehall, to R&B, to hip hop, all of that combined together is what influences my sound. So as at the time I came out that I was sure of what I wanted to do sound wise, the only way I could express it to people, the only way I could explain it to people is like, well, it's Afrobeat, but it's not the regular, just an alternative. Whatever you've listened to. Yeah.
Dang. So this is this your own invention, Afro Alternative? Is that originally from you, or is it something that you learned somewhere?
I've used the term for the longest time, before it became cool. So now in the Nigerian space, they call it the alter. They call it alter. You have people like Odunsi and Santi and the rest of them doing that. Okay. So within the last 3 to 4 years, the name they
become bigger now.
Gotcha. So but I started using that name way back in 2010, 2011, when my friends would ask, what are you doing? I'm saying Afrobeat is just alternative. So there was a point that I even started just calling myself an alternative artist because it's just a wider genre.
Exactly.
It's a whole genre out there that people are not really paying attention to. But the entire source of music is to tell a story, and we tell our stories through this alternative means.
Yes, I mean, I think that's really cool because I think Burna Boy has this thing he calls, I think it's Afrofusion, which when he said it on the Daily Show was my first time hearing Afrofusion before, and he was like, it's like making pizza and like putting different toppings on it, right? Yeah. And it's like, it's cool to see that Afrobeat is not just Afrobeat, it's a whole bunch of, genres of Afrobeat, right? But that's really cool. So take us a little bit back, right? When did you come to the US? How was that? What was the first time you had a dream or thought of making this move from Nigeria? What was your kind of your background in Nigeria, like where you're from, how you grew up, and being able to make this leap to come to the US?
Okay, so that is something I've always known, right?
Okay.
So there is a song that I have on my last album called "I Left."
Okay.
That song kind of like walk you through my inspiration and things that moved into the US. You know, we're from Nigeria,
yes,
and we know what the system is like. I've been someone that I've always been. I always want to make my life through earnest ways.
Yes.
There's this thing I always tell my friends. I say, hey, you cannot be trustworthy. You cannot be honest and make it in Nigeria. That's not going to work. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So I was brought up to be disciplined, to work hard and make a living.
Yes.
So when I was graduating from college and I was being faced with the reality of what the job market is going to look like, I said, hey, you know, in all honesty, you look at the category, the class of people that we will say they made it in Nigeria, they are related to some corruption in some type of way. So I said, I don't think this is going to work for me based on how I was raised. So that's when I started looking at leaving the country and going to somewhere else. But I had a couple of other things that happened along the line that are like that pushed me towards being more serious about leaving the country and coming to the US.
Okay.
So I came to the US in like 2014 for studies, for master's degree. That's one of those very pertinent, huge
yes,
factor that influenced the most. So I came here for studies, and after I finished my studies, I started working on the asylum situation because of some security issues I was having back in Nigeria. So I eventually started working for Wells Fargo doing IT and all of that. So my journey, what inspired me to come to the US, going back to your question, is knowing that I can be in a place where I don't have to necessarily be corrupt.
Yes.
And my hard work will be rewarded. That was the major factor there.
Wow. Now, 2014, you made the move to come to the United States. What was that shift like? What was the transition like? Was it easy for you? And what state did you go to first?
It was tough. I came straight to Iowa, right?
Okay.
That was the hardest. And I was just having this conversation with someone yesterday. One of my neighbors was curious, and he was asking me, like, how was that like? How do you leave? How old were you when you came here? And I said, well, I was 24. How was that like, living everything you knew at 24 to come to? I said, well, it felt as if I was learning life all over again.
Yes.
You know, you had to crawl. I literally had to become a baby again and learn how the system works.
Exactly.
You know, before you came here, you thought you can speak English, and then you speak to people, and they're like,
"That's so
what?"
true. That's so true."
So there were so many things that you thought you knew, and
yes,
you realize that, well, all of these things are ideas that you got to know of from a movie, and then you imagine them to be reality. But when you get here, that culture shock, that reality hits you in the face, and you start, if you are ready to move faster, you got to start crawling and take your time through the process. So coming in was super hard. It wasn't the easiest thing.
Wow. Now, let me tell you a quick story about the English part of things, right? I remember I came in 2016, right? And back then I would go to this it was like a store right next to my house, and I would go there to buy like stuff like for my house, right?
Yeah.
And the cashier would never understand sugar. Like if I say sugar back then, it was like sugar. You know how we say sugar in Nigeria?
Yeah.
And she was like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "Sugar." And she's like, so this is what I did, right? So every time I would go there, I would take like a piece of like sugar, like show her like, this is what I'm looking for. Where can I find this? I don't want to go through this thing with you today. Like, where can I find it? So, those are the challenges back then that, I had to face, and I know you had to face different ways, in different stories, right? Now, making the move, because I know you talked about your immigration stuff, being able to go through Asylum. What was that like, and when did this happen?
I declared asylum in 2016.
Okay.
And like I said, if you know of asylum cases, these are things that they'll rather you don't discuss the details out openly. Whatever things that had to do with security back in Nigeria, the danger for death, persecution, and all of those things inspired me making that move, because at the time that's all I could do to stay safe.
Yes. Now
it was hard.
Yes, I mean, honestly, I'm even happy you brought that up, because that's where I was gonna go next, right? Because even from 2016, things have not gotten better. Like, it's getting worse. There was the whole SARS thing happened. I think it was last year, and there's a whole like the IPOB, the Biafra versus Nigeria. Give us an insight of what you've been hearing and what you think about what's going on in Nigeria right now.
If there is a way I can summarize that, I would say the next election is going to be very interesting in the sense of that, our politics is centered on regional,
tribal, Hausa, Yoruba, where you're from.
Religion and all of that. It's heavy in that sense. So, in a world where globalization is becoming more and more pertinent and more demanding, it's going to be interesting to see how our part of the world, where we have all these indifferences setting us apart, needs to be united for us to see what the common goal is. So bringing that back to today, I would say, and this is something that's already in the news, a lot is the kidnappings and all of that is happening. We have selfish politicians giving these dangerous arms to youths that don't necessarily know how to use them, or don't have what it takes to be in possession of such items, and then now they're taking those advantages to hold people hostages and things like that. So unless the citizens decide to fight for their interest, I don't see anything changing anytime soon.
Now let me ask you, so what state are you from? What part of Nigeria are you from?
Kogi. I'm from the North Central.
Kogi State. Sweet. Because my brother is married to someone from Benue State, and I've been to Benue once. It was an awesome experience. It was so new to me. But let me ask you this, because I feel like since the new president went into seat, things have gone into shambles, right? Things have gone from like bad to like worse. The gas prices off the roof, and everything is just going crazy. What is your perspective when it comes to either the Biafra, the IPOB group, and what they're trying to do in Nigeria? What do you think about that?
I think, in my opinion, everything boils down to still people not understanding their role when it comes to being a citizen or even governing a country like Nigeria. See, Nigeria is somewhat very similar to America in the sense that it's not a country that is made up of just one language, one culture. It's a country that has a lot of people from different cultures trying to interrelate and make things work. We need to come to that realization. We need to come to accepting that we are in a capitalist system and not necessarily a socialist system. I think that's one huge thing that I would say the Nigerian citizenry needs reorientation on. You see people waiting on the government to do certain things, and I'm saying, well, to be honest with you, that's not the job of the government. I would like to be on your side, but it's a capitalist system. It's owned by those who know how to lobby. So if someone is taking advantage of that loophole, then you as a citizen, you need to recognize what tools you have to fight such people that are trying to take this advantage. Something, for instance, was like what happened with the SARS situation. We even though you wouldn't say that's largely successful, but you can tell that that particular action has sent a message.
Yes, it did.
To these people in power. That people are paying more attention. The youths are beginning to realize what tools they have access to make things work in their favor.
Yes. Now, speaking of like being united, right? The first time I came to the U.S., because when you're in the U.S., you're all Nigerians. It's a whole different atmosphere than in Nigeria, where it's Igbo, Yoruba, your Hausas, everyone in their own house. But once you come out here, it's like, yo, we're all one. And I'm like, why don't we have that same mindset back home to work on things and make things better, right? But I mean,
propaganda.
Exactly. Everyone wants to be for their own people, right?
Yeah. Propaganda. The division message, divide and conquer,
Now, because I've been saying this for a long time, and this is my opinion, and I believe strongly in it. And I believe that anyone who needs to be a leader in Nigeria at some point needs to be able to go outside the country to be exposed to what can what can happen before they come back and become leaders. Because I kid you not, in Nigeria, it's a jungle. It's I eat or it's I eat or you eat, and it's like the crab mentality, right? Like, what do you think about that? Do you think that's important to do that, or what is your own strategy to be able to solve this leadership problem that we have?
So even that particular jungle mentality, right?
Yes.
That is all. If you go to the very root of capitalism, that capitalism is essentially built on the survival of the fittest mentality. Those who have more can always have more. I like what you said, because that's what I've always told people. I said, well, the world has been divided long before now among a certain class of people.
Yes.
The only way you can have access to that wealth is if you go somewhere else.
Yes.
And take care of yourself, do what you got to do, go to a system that actually gives you an opportunity to learn, to have access to wealth because you work hard, make your money, and then you can come back and buy access into the system if you truly want to make a change. To be honest, there is no way you can make a change. You can make any type of change from being a peasant, a system that already sees you as someone who has
nothing to offer,
rights,
basically.
So if you want to make real change, you go out, you go do whatever you need to do, but do it legitimately, and then come back and have a seat on the table and then begin to contribute your ideas. But this is the downside. We've seen people who have done this and then they go back and then they get socialized into that particular corruption thing. So that brings me to saying the discipline mindset is something that is on the individual level. You as an individual need to be disciplined enough to know that, this is a system that is meant to be taken advantage of because, it's extreme capitalism, but how can I, as a human, make sure that while I'm taking care of myself, I can also look at the needs of the person that gave me the access to be where I am today, because those are the voters. And then for the voter, for the ordinary citizen, I would say that before you make a decision, right, don't use the herd mentality. Don't follow the crowd. Can you step back, take a look at people's history, take a look at their track record, take a look at how honest they are, how they've been able to make impact, promise impact, and then implement the impact. It's one thing to promise impact, but it's a whole different ballgame to be able to follow through with that promise. So if the ordinary citizens begin to hold people to these high standards and not looking for what they can eat at the moment, I think we'll be at a better place.
Yeah, I mean, you're right on point, right? It has to be this selfless sacrifice where we're not only just looking for the national cake, as we say, where it's like giving my own national cake, but we're actually going out there to try and do things that would be good for the future generations, right? Because today I looked up in the news and a dollar to naira is 527 naira, to a dollar.
Yep.
I'm like, what is going on? Like, we really need to wake up, because again, the people who are leading are old people. They just need to leave. Like, the young people need to come in and help out, right? We have been distracted. We go, because once we talk politics, it's like a whole thing. We went deep into it. Let's bring it right back to you, right? So you started going into music. What was that like for your parents? Because I know Nigerian parents want you to be a doctor or a lawyer. What was that like to be able to say that's what I want to do?
So okay, that was very that was an interesting. That question has always been an interesting question to me personally because I was raised in a home where, our parents try to have influence on what we do, but my personal experience is not as hard as a traditional parents will react. I've never had to have that conversation with them, honestly.
Wow.
My parents pretty much like, they stay in their lane and you stay in your lane. So far you're being a good citizen, so far you're not in jail and
not smoking Igbo.
And they have to come bail you out. So far you're not causing trouble.
Yes.
I've only had that conversation with my dad one time, and that was when he saw me on TV and then he came home and he was like, and I was still in college at this time, right? I was like in my third year, and he was like, was that guy on TV today? And I said, yeah, and it's okay, just be careful out there, not everyone that smiles at you.
Exactly.
So be careful.
Yes.
That was all, and we never had to speak about it anymore. And then my mom just recently, like last month, told me that, well, you never let me listen to your music, and I shut the conversation down almost immediately and started talking about something else. I try to keep my family and what I do apart.
Separate.
Because it's for me, it's very vulnerable. I'm genuine. I tell stories that are personal to me, so I get embarrassed or shy if people try to poke into, especially people that are very close to me. Like even my wife, sometimes she wants to play my song when I'm around. Like, nah, if you're a fan, play when I'm not around. I'm not going to listen to the stories again because, well, I'm just vulnerable. It's real to me.
Now, man, that's phenomenal. Now, let me ask you, we're coming towards the end of the show, but I want to ask you just a few more questions. Because I've seen your videos, and your videos, most of them are shot in Nigeria. Like, why do you make sure you go back to Nigeria to shoot your videos?
Okay, so like I said, I take those things. I'm a very genuine creator, right? So when I'm telling stories about Nigeria, most of those stories are stories about Nigeria. So for me, it's important that I take it back there to tell those stories. And beyond that, if you've seen in those videos, you don't even see me. Some of them, it's not about me. It's about the story. So it's not about selling my face or me trying to look cool. It's all about people connecting with those stories, people seeing those stories for what they are and how I interpret some of those experiences.
Nice.
So,
Wow, that's inspirational because, a lot of people want to spray the money up in the air, let people know, yo, we in the Lamborghini, we were doing this. But that's the beauty of your art. Now let me ask you this, because I know that, a lot of us from Nigeria, we have this Hollywood mindset of the United States before we get here. What was your reality when you moved from Nigeria to Iowa? What was that for you? What was your impression? What did that feel like?
For me, I think I had some expectations, right? With earning. But something that was different from me, like you said, the Hollywood mentality. I think the Hollywood mentality for me was surrounded around how much money I would make.
Oh, okay.
I thought within the first year I was going to be a millionaire. And, not in there, and I'm talking $1 million because they make it look so easy on those TV shows.
Yes.
And then you come in and you're like, God damn.
Damn it, you gotta start from the grassroots now.
That's $7.25 an hour. How many hours am I gonna do?
I feel you, brother.
It's that, it's hard.
Yes.
You get faced with that. That was the huge thing for me.
Yes.
The lifestyle, I've not always been into those type of pain anyway. So that part didn't play a lot, like the dressing nice, the looking cute. And that part didn't really affect me. Mine was all about the money. I've always been about the hustle. I'm like, God damn, when I get there, I'm going to make this much money within the first 2 to 3 months.
Yes.
You know, I'm going to send this money back to you. So I was talking to my friends back then. I'm going to buy you a whole apartment up in Abuja, and then I'm going to buy you a nice car in Lagos. And when I came in, I'm like, bruh, no. You know, I can't even send you $20 right now. So let's not talk about you asking me for anything for the next couple of years until I'm able to get this thing around and figure out how to make that money.
Man, yeah, I mean, that's 100% because, you know, I had that dream too. I'm like, yo, we're going to Hollywood, make some big money. And I came, they were like, you got to work at the gym, you got to work here for 8.25. I'm like, okay, it's going to take me like 20 years to make $1 million with that. But anyways, man, it's been an awesome show, being able just to chat with you and kind of hear your story and kind of hear, you know, where you're from and being able to understand, you know, the struggles and being able to kind of work on your art. Now, this is the section of the show where we play a game. And there's a game we call Fast Five, right? Where I ask you 5 fast questions. You have to think on your feet and you have to answer as fast as you can. You don't have to waste time. And then I have another session where I call it Explain This. So I'm going to put up a picture for you. You're going to explain what you're doing in this picture. It's going to be one picture this time. You're going to explain to me what you do in this picture and let us know. So Fast Five. Are you ready to go?
Yeah.
The first question, most of the questions are going to be Nigerian based, but some I'm going to bring into the US. But here we go. First question. What is the capital of Sokoto State?
Don't know it.
Second question. Who is the mayor of Des Moines?
Don't know it.
I got you. I'm going to get you. I got you. Okay, so now the third question. What was your first music you ever made?
D2M, oh boy, waiting.
Okay, good. Let's go. Now the fourth question. What was the first time what was the music that was on TV when your dad saw you on TV? Ninja. Sweet.
Yeah.
Now the fifth and final question. Who was the first president of Nigeria?
Don't know it.
I got you. Okay, cool. Well, you got one. You got how many? You got 2. You got 2 out of 3. So that's okay, but no, that's not too bad. Now let's go to the next section. In this section, we're calling it Explain This. So actually, I'm going to give you 2 pictures. So, are you ready? So for the first picture, let's see here. What's what we got here? For the first picture, explain this picture. What is happening in this picture? What are you doing? What are you doing? What's going on?
I was taking a poop and I wanted to see what I looked like when taking a poop.
And this is on Facebook, guys. This is on Facebook. This man is bold. He is bold, I'm telling you guys. So, okay, cool. The next picture. What are you doing here? What's going on here?
Chris took me on the street and he said, let's do some crazy pose. Chris is the guy that takes my pictures. Okay. And when we were doing the crazy pose, I grabbed that broom and I put it on my neck and it's like, let's go. And then he gave me this direction and I did it.
That's awesome. It looks like you were trying to sweep up the whole of the street, like sweep up Des Moines or something.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Well, those are the games. Now we have come to the end of the show. Before we end, how can people get in contact with you, or social media, or do you have any music coming up, or how can people get in touch with you?
Yeah, I just put out an album. It's called Artwork Loading, and it's on all digital platforms except YouTube, by the way, because we have a short film. The reason we don't have it on YouTube right now is we have a short film for that particular album coming out, and the entire short film was shot in Nigeria, so that's something that you should look forward to. Outside of that, I have all my music on Apple Music, Spotify, all digital platforms, and the name to look for is Ajofe, spelled Ajofe. Ajofe. That's where you can catch me on all digital platforms. And then for social media is Ajofe Street Mike on Instagram, Twitter, Real Ajofe, but I'm super political on Twitter. You see me you see me on Twitter trolling Trump all the time, so just give you a heads up. Then on Facebook, it's called October 7. October 7 is spelled Octoba 7 as in the number 7 as in the number VEN.
Sweet. All that is gonna be right here. You guys are gonna see it. Man, thank you, Mr. Ajofe, for coming on the show. You are a legend. Thank you for being able to share your story on our platform and having some fun and having some conversation. It's really good to be able to talk with you.
Yes, sir. I had a good time.
Awesome. Well, hey guys, thank you guys for tuning in today to another Fired Up KC show. This is The Dream, the second the Dream. So thank us for tuning in. I'll see you guys next time. But for now, you know where to find us, right? Fired Up KC on YouTube, Spotify, or you can go to our Instagram at Fired Up KC, or go to our website at firedupkc.com to listen to our podcast. So do not miss that. But for now, bye bye and have a wonderful day. Stay fired up.